in the soil and it comes up in the plant. So it is going to be a big product and it is going to be widely registered. It is going to be the biggest insecticide that Syngenta's had since thiamethoxam, Cruiser Actara has come out. Did that answer your question? That's a Syngenta product. There's a Corteva nematicide. Well, okay, so that's a whole nother talk, which is I could pull up, but it's on my laptop. I didn't send it to them. So that product is called Celebro. Okay, so you ready for the story on Celebro? I've studied that product extensively. It is not going to work for you. Now, the reason why it does not work is it works for about 30 days. You need a longer period of residual control, but the registration is just for an in-furrow use pattern. They are in the process of getting a post-emergence application. When they get that, then it could be a contender, but you need to apply it at plant, and then you need to apply it 30 days after. It needs to have two, or over here you might get away with 2 applications. You're going to need 3 applications in the base, and they have another generation that you guys don't have. It's broad spectrum and it's effective, but short residual, and there's only in-furrow. There are a number of other nematicides that are coming. I'm going to say nematicide, I'm going to use that word loosely. There's a product that's registered right now called Nemaclean. There's another product called Onera. There's another product that just became available that we did some work on called Employ. I think all 3 of those products are, and there was an Onera peddler in the room, but just left. He was just sitting right next to me. Oh, he's right there. You moved up to the front. So you would say Onera in furrow followed by Vite. Over here they have, do you guys what, 90-day growing season ish? So you could use Onera and use a Vite application or 2. You could use a Nemaclean product, you use that in furrow, and 1 to 2 times post emergence is another, that's another option. What else did I say? Nemaclean, Onera. Oh, Employ. So Employ is a, it doesn't do anything to the nematode. It makes the plant a less hospitable host for it. It does a SAR effect that makes the plant resist the nematodes. We also have here a company called GrowPro. Raise your hand there, GrowPro. So I was just looking at some research results with a product called Vigilance. And when we did 35 nematicide treatments this year, and when we, in a very heavy nematode pressure situation, and a Vigilance only program ended up with the highest, most protected yield compared to 34 other treatments, including Telone and Vite. Now, I don't understand why it didn't reduce incidence like I thought it would, but in potatoes, there are 3 things we measure: net yield, incidence of nematodes, and % reduction over time. So Vigilance is a product that is registered. It is new. It is organic. I don't have enough experience with that product to recommend it, but I haven't been working with it as long as the other products, but we got some very interesting positive results on it this year. So Onera is conventional Nemaclean is organic. Vigilance is organic. What else you guys want to know about controlling nematodes or insects on potatoes? I've got to talk till 4:30 because you have to get your, or 5 o'clock, you have to get your pesticide credits. I was at the Pacific Northwest Vegetable Association meeting, and there was 3 speakers that ended their talk each 10 minutes early. And everybody was happy with that because they got out early until there was a Department of Ag rep in the field, in the room, and he docked everybody's pesticide credits because they left early. So I'm looking, okay.
We have a question over here.
What do you got?
Hey, Alan. Curious if you have been working with chitosan at all?
I have not had a chitosan conversation with someone until since lunchtime, just after lunch. So I have not worked with chitosan, and I'm interested in it. As it turns out, I tried to. There's a company that makes a chitosan product called Tidal Spectra. It's based in Bellingham, of all places. I called them up trying to get some product, and I couldn't. And then it turns out a good friend of mine that works in that's here at the show is selling Warhammer, a chitosan product, and I could have got it from him very easily. I've not done work in chitosan. There's people that have been working on chitosan for a very long time, and I'll just tell you, it has not been a commercially successful product, but I'm not in a position to answer why. So I have a section in here about aphid control in potatoes. And look, nobody wants to get to the beer faster than me, but we got to wait till 5. So one of the things I want to point out here, now this wasn't written for the west side. This is kind of a just a seed potato one. So Tim was talking about 5 aphids per 100 leaves, or 5 aphid per plant. But this used to be 1 aphid before we had neonics. When we had Timic. Timic would run out in 50 days, and then we'd fly on Monitor, and it wasn't a great system. But once we got the neonic, it controlled aphids so long, so well, and they used it very well in the seed potato industry that it essentially wiped out potato leaf roll virus. And I'm not aware of them finding potato leaf roll virus in years. Matthew, is that true? As far as we know. On the other hand, I almost want to say a lot of people stopped looking for it. But if we lose, I mean, I don't want to, Tim Waters and I work very closely together, and I'm hearing myself starting to repeat the things that he said. But if we lose the neonics, that is something that we're at great risk. That virus is out there somewhere at some vanishing low level, and it will come back. But you got to treat with Platinum, Cruiser, Admire Pro. You can use Belay. Belay is, I'll tell you an interesting thing about Belay, which is clothianidin and thiamethoxam. Thiamethoxam technically is not considered an insecticide because the molecule as itself is not toxic to the insect. It is what's called a pro-insecticide. This has to be consumed by an insect and be cleaved into a smaller molecule. That smaller molecule is clothianidin. So, but if you compare clothianidin to thiamethoxam, it does not have all the same characteristics, and it is actually a more poorly performing product. It is not as systemic as thiamethoxam, which is highly systemic because it's a lot more water soluble than clothianidin. So Admire Pro and Platinum and Cruiser are the ticket. I would not use Belay in furrow or as a seed treatment. You can use it as a foliar. I would not use 4-8 or thymate because it's kind of a short residual. You need to have, if you're doing seed potatoes, you need to have a no gap program. You cannot, as we say, you can't leave your field uncovered. You do not want to have a break. I have screened every aphid side on the planet. I mean, like a lot. I've had more potato aphid trials than any other trial that I've ever done. I'm going to tell you, that's right where I'm going. So, to me, there's no functional difference in efficacy and period of residual control between Admire Pro and the thiamethoxam containing programs. It's more, do you want to have a seed treatment or do you want to apply in furrow, and the cost and what you're set up for? They are, in my opinion, functional equivalents. Platinum and Admire, I feel the same way. I would not put belay in furrow. I would not do that. You can, but it is not as effective. I did the first clothianidin or belay in furrow treatment for potatoes for research in potatoes in the Pacific Northwest. And the company was so excited about it that they wanted to be there for our first rating. I went out with them. I went to it. I turned over the potato leaves and there were aphids there. And I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And I thought, did we screw up? But it turns out that we didn't. It's just not as good. So for belay as a foliar is fine. Actara as a foliar is fine. But you don't use belay or Actara or Admire Pro if you used a neonic at planting or in furrow. You don't apply it at the beginning of the season and then apply it to the foliage, because that's what they did in the East Coast and that's what they did in the Midwest, and they blew up and got resistance, and now they cannot use those classes of insecticide or those types of insecticides. So probably the single most important thing that I'm going to tell you is do not apply a neonic. So don't apply Admire Pro, belay, Cruiser, or Platinum in furrow, and then use belay, Actara, and Admire Pro to the foliage. If you do that enough, they will develop resistance to it, and you will not have the privilege of those products. I'm not a fan of Volum Flexi, not because it doesn't work. It works very well, but it's a package mix, and you don't need to be using both of those active ingredients. Harvanta is an unsung hero. It is very good. It's like X-Roll except cheaper. It works very good. I doubt they even carry it here, but it's a perfectly good aphicide. A cell is an interesting case. It is a neonic, but it is molecularly unlike the other ones, but you're still not supposed to be using that in rotation with other neonics. And I'm guessing almost all the potatoes have a neonic at planting, so you shouldn't be using a cell. This product here is a ticket. It is one of the most effective insecticides. There are three that are the ticket, but one of them is, this is the ticketiest ticket there is, and I'll tell you why. Transform, and then Savanto, and the other product is Belief, are all super effective and super fast. And you want speed when you want to kill an insect that might be carrying a virus, because you want to kill them before they feed or before they feed long enough. Speed of efficacy is essential when controlling an insect that vectors a disease, particularly a virus that can be transmitted very quickly. There are two differences for these three products: Transform, Savanto, and Belief. Transform is less than half the cost of the other two products. That's what That's what its charm is. It's as good as the other, but it's cheap. Savant Transform also will pick up Ligus, but you don't care about that. Savanto can pick up some beetles. It is supposedly faster acting than Transform, but one of them is fast and the other one is a little faster. Oh, Fulfill, I forgot. Fulfill is in there too. So Fulfill is as good as the others. Unfortunately, it's more expensive. And the tricky thing about Fulfill, it's very effective, but the crazy thing about it is how it works. It doesn't kill the insect. What it does is aphids have a beak and they've got this face that holds a kind of a bulbous head, and the head is kind of a bulbous shape on the aphid because it has this pump that pulls the sap out, pushes it in, pulls it out, pushes it in, and it's got this big pump. And this insect inactivates the nerves that go to the sidereal pump. It doesn't kill it, it just stops it from feeding, which means it can't transmit, and the aphid starves to death. But it may take a few days for it to starve to death. So it will immediately stop transmitting the disease, which is really all you care about. It may take 5 days in cool weather for it to die. Yes, because if they can't feed, they're not moving. And then you have carbine or belief. This is the other one that is very carbine or belief, flunicimid, very effective. Very, very effective. I was the first one to get access to this product in the Western Hemisphere, and I just couldn't believe how fast, how effective it worked. It also will pick up thrips, not that you care about thrips. So Fulfill, Belief, Savanto, Transform. Torac works great. If you want to take out aphid and flea beetle, you can use Torac. We're going to skip over Movento. Movento I don't think is a good fit for you. You got things like pre-harvest intervals and REIs, seasonal limits you got to pay attention to. That may be my seed potato. Then I go into mites. So it's 4:58. I'm going to pause and see if anyone has any questions before we adjourn to a better place. Mike, you got any questions, or you know it all? All right. Give me a question. Yes. Oh, the wino flea beetles is no one has, okay, so I am a eat what I kill person. Someone's got to pay me to do some work. No one's ever asked me to do work on flea beetles. Now, I'm over in Eastern Washington, but 30% of my research effort is in Skagit and Whatcom County. We easily could. I anticipated someone asking me about flea beetles, and so I thought I would call the official WSU entomologist responsibilities for potatoes. And so Dr. Nottingham, tell me how to control flea beetles. He says, I've not been able to find any in the 2 years he's been here. He says, I don't even think it's a pest. Okay, I'm kind of joking there. He has not seen it in the 2 years he's been here. I do think that's a little bit of a cyclical, yes. Okay, that's almost puts it in a class maybe of like PLRV. We don't see it because the neonic's been so effective. But what happens if we lose neonics? That just makes my head want to explode. If we give that, I'm going to sound like Tim, but if the world will not be a better place if we stop using neonics. Of course, one of the ways that's driving it is, it's hard on bees, they say. There's never been a bee in a potato field ever. Planazolam. It's going to solve everything. Okay, one more question. We can go drink beer. But one more question. Yes. Okay, this is my take. It is a very, 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 very good product. But to use Movento, you apply it before the aphids. You have to apply it before the aphid is there. It takes a long time to work. You have to apply it theoretically a week, maybe. All right, and then you wait 14 days and you apply another, and that's that. The last time I checked on a price, and every time I talk about a price, someone gets mad because it's either I say it's too high or it's too low, or someone's pissy about it, talking about price. But the last time I checked, which was years ago, was $75 for a Movento program, and you can make, you know, 2 applications of Transform for 16, I don't know, $16-20. Also, the charm of Movento is all the other things that it picks up, like potato psyllid and things that you guys don't care about. There's cheaper, more just-in-time products that you can use. Movento requires a lot more thought, some action, some finesse. Not that you guys don't have it, but it's you've got more straightforward, cost-effective treatments. Okay, you met my requirement. One last question. I'll be around tonight until the beer's off, and I'll be here tomorrow.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Alan. If you are here for pesticide credits, thank you all for staying. Again, they're in the back, and it's 2 points for this one. And then there is a reception afterwards, so stick around, as Alan was saying, for some beer and some hors d'oeuvres.